Hi, welcome back. This week I have 5 slow cooker meals that will help you be able to cook at home but save time, and they actually taste good too. So come join me, see what's cooking. This week I am going to try to make as many meals in the slow cooker as I can. So I sat down, I talked with my family and got some ideas of what they like and what they'd like to eat. And we went ahead and picked shrimp bisque for the Sunday night, barbecue pork ribs, street tacos, broccoli cheddar soup, and then a garlic mushroom chicken as well that are all going to be in the slow cooker. Now my daughter is going to be cooking tikka masala, and so that's not going to be on the video, but she's going to do that one. Here's the first meal that we did, which was it was actually a shrimp and crab bisque, but it turned out pretty stinking amazing. I sauteed, my Instapot is a slow cooker and it has a saute feature, and it can do pressure cooking. But I went ahead and sauteed leeks and garlic and butter and oil and salted those and got those sauteed. Now the recipe didn't call for potatoes, but I went ahead and added just one potato. And then it called for like a fish broth, but I only had vegetable, so I put vegetable broth in. And then I put in all the spices and the goodness in there and stirred it up. Then it called for a cooking wine. So 1 cup of cooking wine, and then I mixed a third a cup of flour in there, or maybe it was a half cup, and put pepper in and some salt. And then you mix that in to the other ingredients in the slow cooker, and then you put that on low for 3 or 4 hours. Once it's cooked for 3 or 4 hours, you're going to add your crab. And I went ahead and got pre-cooked baby shrimp, and I defrosted those and put those in as well. Then I stirred those together, and then I added my cream, and my chopped fresh parsley. And then you want to let it cook on low for another 20-30 minutes, and it turned out amazing. This was delicious. I loved this soup so much. I ate it for leftovers for days. It is so flavorful, and we ate it with some whole grain toast. The next meal that I made was barbecue pork ribs, which was probably the easiest of all these meals. I got a rack of ribs and I cut them apart so they'd fit easily in the slow cooker. And then I just added our favorite barbecue sauce to the top of these, and that was it. Put the lid on, cooked them for about 8 hours, and then served them up. I had planned to eat potatoes, and we did cook potatoes with this dinner, but they didn't get done in time for dinner, so we ate them a little later. But they were still really good with these Cheesecake Factory rolls and a salad. For the street tacos, I just eyeballed all these spices and sprinkled them on top of my roast. When I went shopping, the grocery store only had tri-tips, so that's what I got. And usually we like to barbecue up our tri-tip, but since I was putting this in before work and gonna eat it when we got home, I just went ahead and stuck it in the slow cooker, and I was pretty happy with how it turned out. So I added all the taco seasonings to this roast and a little bit of water, and then I covered it and cooked it for 8 hours or so. And then when I got home and took off the lid, I picked off some of the bigger pieces of fat and I shredded it and cut it up, and that actually worked out pretty well for our tacos. So for the taco shells, I bought for the first time kind of a flour corn blend, and they turned out really good. They were perfect for this meal, and I just had to fry those up for about 5 minutes or 30 seconds on each side. Oh, and yes, I made a cabbage salsa to go with it, but I cheated and stopped by a Mexican restaurant on the way home and got their fresh made salsa and guacamole to go with them as well because I didn't want to make both salsas, but I wanted to make this kind of cabbage salsa because I think it goes well with street tacos. So for the tortillas, I just sprayed the pan with oil and sprayed the top of them and did them for about 30 seconds on each side. And then I kind of folded them in half, and then I let them, I put them to the side as I cooked all the rest of them. Then I put the meat in the tacos and garnished it, and we ate those just by themselves, and that was plenty. It was delicious. These were really good. I haven't done slow cooker tacos, street tacos before, but I was pretty happy with the results. For this recipe, I used chicken breasts and I added those to the slow cooker. And then I had this rustic Italian seasoned blend, so I went ahead and used that. But you can buy a packet of Italian seasoned dressing to put on top. And then I added a little too much water, so I'd say stick with more like 1/4 of a cup of water and 1/4 of a cup of butter. But if you do use too much, you can always drain some of this off when you are done cooking it. I didn't drain mine off. It was a little bit too watery, but that's okay. I added the cream cheese, and the cream of chicken soup is what I had, but you could also use cream of mushroom. And then I shredded up all the chicken breasts that were down there, and I added just a little bit of whipping cream because I felt like it just wasn't quite as creamy as I wanted it to be. But it turned out really nice. I served it with microwaved rice, surprise, surprise. It's my favorite, and a salad, one of those bag salads, and it was really tasty. The last meal we did was our cheddar broccoli, which I had some cauliflower as well, so I went ahead and added the cauliflower. And I just added my oil and my butter to the pan, and my onion and garlic, and sauteed those first. And then it called for a bay leaf, so I added that. Then I added my broth, which you could do any kind of broth. I did chicken broth, but you could do vegetable, or you could just do water. You'll just have to add more salt probably. So I added my broth, and then I added my frozen cauliflower and my frozen broccoli, all but like half a bag of frozen broccoli that I was going to add at the end because I like my soup to be a little more chunky, not creamy smooth. And it was supposed to cook for 3 hours, but my family was getting impatient, so mine didn't quite cook for 3 hours, but I would recommend doing so to make the broccoli and cauliflower super tender. Remove the bay leaf, and then you're going to blend it. I have an immersion blender, so I went ahead and blended it just like that with the immersion blender, and I forgot earlier to have put the flour water mixture in. I should have done that before I started cooking, but I added it later, and I added my cream and my salt and pepper, and then I blended it just a little more because it was still pretty chunky, which I want it chunky, but I just wanted kind of a base and then add a few more back. So I added the rest of the broccoli and stirred that in, and then I went ahead and cooked it for about 30 more minutes so it would thicken up a little bit more. It was still a little watery for my taste, but that's okay. It was still really good. I added my fresh cheese that I grated myself to help it melt better, and it turned out really yummy. This was a really delicious meal, and this week was so easy having everything in the slow cooker.